The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, Custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show. Powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking for a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support at sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, and over 25 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with a wonderful author who was a former U.S. Marine. He was a decorated for valor under enemy fire and receives VA care for combat-connected conditions. Also spent a large part of his life practicing criminal law, representing more sex workers during his time in practice than any other attorney in the world. And he's also got 2 novels out, which is called The Boardwalkers and also A Run to Hell. We'll talk more about that. But live, ladies and gentlemen, from the beautiful Plush Studios in his wonderful dormitory, or office, you should say, just come up with some great ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, live from his studio, author Fred Schofield. Fred, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Mike. It's so great to be here. It really is. And I have an opportunity to talk to you.
Well, it's a great opportunity to talk to you as well, too. You've got an interesting background as well, too. You spent your early years as a U.S. Marine, decorated for valor under enemy fire, and you also spent a large part of your life practicing criminal law, representing more sex workers than any other attorney in the world. And you also have a couple of novels out called The Boardwalkers, A Run to Hell, and also just a couple of things are shaped by unique life experiences. And before we get into all that, tell us how you first got started.
Mike, it all started actually back in Vietnam when I began to do some writing. But Vietnam was behind me for a lot of years until I went into the hospital with some problems I had picked up in Vietnam. On December 3rd, 1968, my second day in country, I was on a patrol carrying a radio. The PRC-25 is what the Marine Corps issued to radio operators at the time. And I recall turning around and asking the guy behind me, "What's this stuff all over our boots?" And he took a look and said, "Don't worry about it. It just kills the plant life." So 50 years later, I found out Agent Orange can take out kidney. And I was in the hospital going through some procedures. And while I was there, I got a call from an old editor. because I had published some books nearly 20 years ago, which had a good run. They sold about 20,000 copies and had developed a good audience. But they had gone out of print because the little publisher that put them out went belly up for reasons unrelated to me.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, Freddie, open these books, take a look at them. Do you understand that they're selling first editions of these books for close to $1,000 at Amazon?
Really?
That they're selling the used copies for anywhere between $200 and $300.
Oh, my
the two
goodness.
Stories. Yeah, they're still on. In fact, they're still online at that price. And if I could only make a piece of that, I'd be a happy man.
And you mean you didn't get any portion of it that all go to Jeff Bezos? Are you trying to make him a trillionaire or something? What's going on with that?
That's right. At least people like them. And I was encouraged by an editor to take a look at these two stories. There actually were three of them or four of them that I had worked on 20 years ago. And I had just gone back into my law practice and left them alone, didn't think about them. But I pulled them out, and they look good. And they look like they could use updating. And they look like the characters could be enhanced. They looked like 20 years later, you sometimes can see more about people than you see when you're a little bit younger. And I had a better feeling for the characters and a better idea of where they should go and what they should be thinking and what they're doing. And they're a diverse set of creatures. They're interesting, they're exciting, and they're vibrant. But I put the stories out again, and they've been well received this time out. The Boardwalkers is a great little story. It talks about the years I spent representing more sex workers in Atlantic City than any other lawyer, meaning I represented more ladies and gentlemen of the evening than probably any lawyer in the world. And those stories came home to me because, well, it was a unique style of life, representing those people during that period of time. The story itself involves a mob boss, a mafia boss, who takes on a trial lawyer in a situation where only one of them can survive. When the story was first released, I had an ex-wife that called me up and said, Freddie, you killed me on the first page. And I listened to her say that, and then I had to reply, but in fairness to me, you didn't die till the second page. The story goes on and takes a look at people that have probably a different way of looking at life, but very real and very street real. And it makes a wonderful, wonderful 70-year murder mystery and mob story set in the adult playground called Atlantic City. It's a true delight. Unfortunately, it's been very well received this time out. The reviews are great, and the response at Amazon with reader reviews has just been fantastic. So I'm very happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
The story, though, that I think that most people like to talk about is called A Run to Hell. That's a story that takes place about the same period of time, around 1990. And it tells the story of a lawyer from Philadelphia who was literally kicked out of the town by the Philadelphia mob and sent down to Miami, and his female counterpart, who was an immigrant from Panama, a woman who was an FBI special agent. Lee Gunther, who was the lawyer, is motivated by something that he learned about in Philadelphia, which resulted in him coming to odds with his friends in the Philadelphia crime family. And I also dealt with those people. What he learns is the history and story behind the murder of Grace Kelly, who, of course, was the Academy Award-winning actress who won the Academy Award for Best Actress for a Country Girl in 1954, and then went on to marry Prince Rainier of Monaco. She became the Princess of Monaco. She died in a way that people never really fully understood. In fact, if you look today for an article in the Reader's Digest, you can find it online. They have an article called 11 Questions Surrounding Grace Kelly's Death. And Grace Kelly was a renowned actress. She starred in a movie, in fact, that took place in Monaco, with co-starring with Cary Grant, called To Catch a Thief. And in fact, there's a scene in there where Grace is driving, and in real life, Grace Kelly, the actress who becomes a princess, dies by driving off that roadway called the Moyenne Corniche, by driving over a ravine. The question has always been, why did she drive over the ravine? The answer is found in A Run to Hell. And here's how I know the answer to that. My father grew up next door to Grace Kelly. They were the same age. His brother was best friends with Grace's brother, a fellow by the name of Jack Kelly Jr., who was called Kel.
Mm-hmm.
Kel was a prominent Philadelphia city councilman who was also president of the US Olympic Committee.
Interesting.
After Grace died, her brother, Kel, looked into the murder. And a year and a half later, while he was investigating the murder, along with a brother-in-law, on the same day, 12 blocks and 6 hours apart, both Kel, her brother, and the brother-in-law were murdered.
Wow.
Separate incidents.
Within 12 hours? Oh, my goodness.
No, less than that. It was about 12 blocks. 12 blocks apart in 6 hours.
Oh, 12 blocks.
Both died.
12 blocks. I'm sorry. I got that crossed up here. So, wow. I guess there is some kind of, mafia tinge to it as well, too. And, of course, just one question before we resume here. And what was the connection involved with, Grace Kelly and the mafia as well? So what was the connection to that?
They discovered how Grace was murdered. And they revealed that to our hero in A Run to Hell. And I know that from personal experience. I can recall going to the funeral with my father and mother to Grace's brother's funeral, where the royal family from Monaco attended. I also know the story from my mob clients, particularly from a guy named Fat Joey A. Altamari. He became Fat Joey A. because at the time, there were 6 Joey A's between the crime families in New York and the crime family in Philly. So to distinguish my Joey A, he became Fat Joey A. All these Joey A's, he was Joey A for Altamari. Joey also knew the story. He told me the story. In fact, when I went to write the story, I talked to Joey and said, am I going to have a problem if I reveal this? And Joey, who had a kind of a strange voice, responded, "Oh, Freddie, they're all effing dead. Don't worry about it." So I didn't worry about it. I wrote the story. I took the information Fat Joey A gave me, and he was a character. I remember his last stint in the federal prison. When he got out, he came to me and said, "Freddie, they tried to kill me in there. They made me walk around." I said, "Joey, you weigh over 400 pounds. They wanted you to walk around your cell block so you could live." Joey never understood that. But I got the same story from Joey A. So we have Lee Gunther in A Run to Hell, who's motivated by his experience, which kicks him out of Philadelphia and sets him at odds with the Philadelphia crime family. And then if we have to take a break, maybe we take a break, and then I'll talk to you more about what happens in A Run to Hell.
Well, you know what? That's a really good idea. We'll talk a little bit about the Boardwalkers as well, too, and a little bit more as well, too. But first, you're listening to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. Powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, and over 25 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with author Fred Schofield, former U.S. Marine, and also spent part of his life practicing criminal law, representing more sex workers during his time in practice than any other attorney in the world, inspired by the novel The Boardwalkers, and also he also wrote Run to Hell, which we talked about for just a little bit as well, too. Before we get back to A Run to Hell, you were going to finish up as well, too, that involving the Boardwalkers, that you had also represented more sex workers during that time. And what was the inspiration or the reasoning, representing more sex workers? And, what was the story behind that?
You don't always pick your profession. Sometimes your profession picks you. Mm-hmm. And I was guided by that. It so happened that I never represented a sex worker that ever went to jail, even though sex workers had mandatory sentences upon third conviction. None of my people ever went to jail. And I would represent sometimes 3 to 5 people in a courtroom in a court session. Atlantic City had such a bad problem with prostitution that they had what was called whore court every Friday. That's what the judges called it. That's what the lawyers called it. That's what the cops called it. And that's certainly what the participants called it.
Whore court. Interesting. Sounds like more like one of those reality shows.
I just let's just say I had good luck in the courtroom. And what are you going to do? It would have been easier to do something else maybe, but I did that well, and you do what you do well. But I'd like to go back, if we could, to A Run to Hell, because there's another story. There's another way that I got there to that story. And one of my mentors, or my actual real mentor in the criminal law, was a fellow by the name of Raymond J. Takeoff. Mm-hmm. Now, Ray ran a law practice in Philadelphia, and he taught me how to try criminal cases. And he taught me very well. He was a heck of a lawyer. He went down to Miami when drug problems became a big problem for that area. It was the drug capital of the world. It was the Super Bowl of major crime. And Ray made a good living down there. He also, when he was nailed for tax evasion, picking up a large fee that apparently didn't make it where it belonged into his business accounts, he also became an informant. And in fact, he was responsible for more convictions of judges and magistrates in the federal court system and in the Florida state court system than had ever happened before. What happened was Ray went in and with his knowledge, and he did represent big people. In fact, Manuel Noriega was one of his clients.
Oh, wow.
Noriega had hired 3 lawyers, Neil Sonnet, another fella, and then Ray, who was, to me, the brightest of the 3 of them. But Ray had certain insights that he shared with me about the drug dealings in South Florida at that time. And that all becomes a part of the story, because what happens to Lee Gunther, our hero in A Run to Hell, is he gets picked up for a tax evasion charge in much the same way my friend Ray did. And he is brought into the FBI, and he agrees to cooperate, engaging in an operation before the United States invaded Panama to take out Manuel Noriega. They made a last-ditch effort, and in this story we talk about Lee Gunther joining a immigrant female FBI agent who was kind of unique for this story. She had a history of having been she had grown up as a national from Panama. She knew the ins and outs. She knew the players down there. And the 2 of them get involved in A Run to Hell going into Panama, which was in the days that Noriega ran the place through the 80s into the early 90s, when he's finally taken out when the U.S. Armed Forces go down there. The Army, the Marine Corps, the Navy, everybody goes down there with the largest posse the United States has ever put together to take out one man. And they took out Manuel Noriega. But in the days leading to that, there was an operation to try to take him, to try to talk him into surrendering back in Miami, where the federal charges against him were pending. So the story takes a look at that. It takes a look at Jamie's background. She's motivated, just as Lee was motivated by the death of Princess Grace. Jamie's motivated by a hero from Central America, Hugo Spadafora, a physician revolutionary who was beloved in Central America. And for the reasons that are become apparent in the book, that motivates her to do what they do in Panama, trying to take out Manuel Noriega. It's an exciting read. I still get goosebumps when I read the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But and Jamie comes to life. She became a FBI agent at a point in time when women were really looked down upon. It was an all-male bastion where women who grew up as agents that were clerks before they became agents, as many FBI agents did at the time, were called clagents, something that never bothers Jamie. On the other hand, in the California office, where she became an agent, the female agents were all called breastfeds in those days. They were looked down upon, very tough to get promotions. And Jamie finds a way through her cleverness to overcome all of that and break the glass ceiling in many different ways.
Interesting.
In fact, she turns out to be a stronger character than the lawyer from Philadelphia. And as you probably can guess, as a lawyer from Philadelphia, I have a thing for lawyers from Philadelphia.
And you talk about having a thing for lawyers from Philadelphia. How do you compare that with New Jersey in terms of lawyers?
Something. It was an easier way to practice. I practiced in both states. Jersey had a more relaxed set of rules. Philadelphia had a set of rules different from the rest of the state, and it was complex on purpose to keep other lawyers out of the city, I think. But it was a good way of life. I did enjoy it. It did bring people to me that brought life to these stories. And I don't know, I can just tell you that it's a good thing to take a stroll with the Boardwalkers, but you have to look over your shoulder just as I did in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good thing to take a run to hell, but you'll find some problems and issues and scariness along the way, all of which makes for a lot of fun. It's good fun reading. It's beach reading, essentially. It's nothing you have to think too hard about, but it's stuff that will come to life for you.
Mm-hmm. And even with the pandemic, you can read on the so-called beach or anywhere you go.
Yeah, I'd say it's perfect for the beach, besides a hearth or any comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. And where can we find your books at?
Find them at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or actually any bookseller to distribute it through Ingram. But yeah, I'd say take a look for The Boardwalkers, certainly a good read for the summertime. Take a look for A Run to Hell, certainly a good read anytime.
That sounds great as well, too. I'll talk about what's coming up for you as well, too. But first, to listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking for a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, and over 25 podcast platforms. Take The Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with author Fred Schofield, former U.S. Marine and attorney representing numerous sex workers, any other attorney in the world. Also a couple of books of Boardwalkers, A Run to Hell, and more. And you give us a really, really good nutshell description of the Boardwalks and A Run to Hell. And I'm looking forward to a third book. And what do you have coming up in 2020 and beyond for us?
I've got a story that's in the can. It's coming out. It involves a condition that takes one United States hero from us every 65 seconds by suicide. And that sounds sad, doesn't it? It's not sad.
During these times, yeah.
It's a story that has a happy ending, a good message to it. And I'm looking forward to seeing that one on shelves also, bookshelves also.
And when will that be coming out?
Probably next spring.
Next spring. Okay, we're looking forward to it. And there's one question I forgot to ask
I've
you.
got an editor that says, bring it to us so it's out by Christmas. I think it's coming by spring. That's my read on this.
Well, we'll just say spring, or we could say in between, like maybe February or after the Super Bowl or something like that. So just learn how to compromise. And there's one thing I forgot to ask you as well, too. Who are some of your favorite authors and writers growing up?
Oops, I missed you there, Mike. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Who are some of your favorite authors and writers growing up?
Oh, some of my favorites. I grew up in college. I loved Faulkner, Fitzgerald, Hemingway. My favorite trashy writer was Harold Robbins, who wrote his first book, The Carpetbaggers, that was so well beloved by Hollywood that they actually made 2 movies out of it, not one. Today it's regarded pretty much as trash. But I still like that movie. I still get a kick watching Carol Baker and George Papard run through that in the movie version. My favorite stage play turned into a film. That would have to be Paul Newman, Elizabeth Taylor in the Tennessee Williams play. Oh, what is its name? Oh, a senior moment. I can't quite think of the name. Rat spit.
I'm sure it'll come up as well too. Maybe later on or something, and then when we have you back on, you can probably figure out as well too.
But I will give you the best movie of all time. If you like to watch the best movie of all time, a winner of 11 Academy Awards, that has to be the movie about an English officer during World War I, Lawrence of Arabia.
Lawrence of Arabia, what a classic. I love it.
Absolutely. Peter O'Toole stars in his first leading role. Noel Coward, when he attended the London screen opening for the film, went up to Peter and said, if you were any prettier in this film, they would have to call it Florence of Arabia.
Florence of Arabia. Just don't tell that to the progressive girl you see on TV pitching insurance rivaling the lizard. And since we're on the subject of movies as well, too, what are some of your other favorite movies along with some actors as well, too? This is getting good, just along the lines of Grace Kelly you mentioned.
I love the movies.
And, of course, we do, too, as well, too. We'll talk more about that. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Pair of lawyers, Anthony P. Barata, now dead, who helped me try a seven-figured civil case, get a seven-figured verdict in a civil case where the biggest offer was $50,000. And my friend who brought us to this story, the Run to Hell story, Ray Takeoff. They were big influences both in the courtroom and outside the courtroom. Lawyers can have solid qualities to make them good people. I know not everybody thinks that. A lot of jurors think that lawyers, when they go home, turn right while they turn left. And it's not so. Good people, and I've met a lot of good people along the way. And in fact, a lot of good people in the practice, a lot of good clients where you think you wouldn't find good people. A lot of the creatures that you might meet in the Boardwalkers were, they're based on people that were real folks that walked into my law practice who were terrific folks. I've attended their weddings as they've grown older. I've attended baptisms with some of the folks that you may see walking through the Boardwalkers, baptisms with their children. There's a lot good going on out there. It's just good to be a part of life.
And it sounds like it as well, too. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point, Fred?
Best advice, keep breathing.
Oh, well said, Fred. Well said. I'm doing that right now. Breathe in, breathe out, just keep going. Once again, author Fred Schofield of the Boardwalkers and Run to Hell on the Mike Wagner Show. Fred, a big thank you for your time. You've been very fantastic.
It's been great, Mike.
And looking forward to having you soon.
It.
And one more thing before we go here. Don't hang up yet. What are your upcoming projects? What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase your books?
Frederick-Schofield, SCHOFIELD.com. Or look for me on Amazon. Amazon will direct you to the website, which gives all the background to these stories, and it also has great reviews. I'm just overwhelmed by the nice things people have said about these stories, and I hope you'll pick up The Boardwalkers or A Run to Hell, and just enjoy the heck out of either one of them.
Sounds great. We'll take those to the beach or our favorite fireplace. Once again, Fred, a very big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to getting in soon. Do us a favor. Keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2020 and beyond. You've been great. Just keep us up to date.
Great, Mike. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, Custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.